Hare Krishna. Very, very warm welcome to everybody for this morning's Japa Yajna. As always, on behalf of my leader, I would like to thank all the Japa leads who came in and performed their nice service for 15 minutes. Wasn't Nursing Dev looking stunning with the silver and the golden Prabhavali? Hari Bol. So we move on to the next program, which is discussion of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which we do it every day. Before that, we'll do a very short kirtan and start this. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Gandharvika Giridhari, Gandharvika Giridhari Gaura Hari. Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha, Jayo Ananta De. Lakshmi Narasimha Jayo Ananta De. Nittai Gaur Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Nittai Gaur Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamutire Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtuki. Reading from Canto 1, Chapter 12. Just a moment. You all can see the screen?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Chapter 1, Canto 1, Chapter 12, titled The Birth of Maharaj Emperor Parikshit. So, text 1. Saunako Vacha.
Shaunaka Uvacha.
Thank you, Mataji. Ashwattama Upashishtena.
Ashvatamanopa
Brahma Shishnu Rutejasaha.
Brahma Shishnorutejasaha
Uttaraya Hato Garbha.
Uttaraya Hato Garbha
Ishena Jivita Punaha.
Ishena Jivitah Punaha.
Thank you,
Thank
Mataji. Word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation, the sage Saunaka said, the womb of Uttara, mother of Maharaj Parikshit, was spoiled by the dreadful and invincible Brahmastra weapon released by Ashwatthama. But Maharaj Parikshit was saved by the Supreme Lord. We'll read the purport. Very nice. The sages assembled in the forest of Naimisharanya inquired from Sutta Goswami about the birth of Maharaj Parikshit. But in the due course of the narration, other topics like the release of Brahmastra by the son of Drona, his punishment by Arjuna, Queen Kunti's prayers, and Pandava's visit to the palace where place where Bhishmadev was lying, his prayers, and thereafter the Lord's departure to Dwaraka were discussed. His arrival at the Dwaraka and the residence of 16,000 queens, etc., were narrated. The sages were absorbed in hearing such description, but now they wanted to return to the original topic, and thus the inquiry was made by Shaunaka Rishi. So that the subject of the release of Brahmastra weapon by Ashwatthama is renewed. So before we go on to share or discuss a few points, we'll chant the prayers so that I seek prayers from all the Vaishnavas and the previous Acharyas. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjala Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamakhyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yutapata Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrijatam Sahgana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Jaya Pataka Swami Tinamini Namo Acharya Padaya Nataya Kapaya Pradaya Gauraka Madaya Nagara Kramatara Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Vaida Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Prayers to all the Vaishnavas assembled. So, just a minute. Yeah. Saunako Bhuasha Ashwattama Ashwattana Upashashtena Brahma Shishnu Ruttejasaha Uttaraya Hato Garbha Ise Isena Jivitaha Punaha. The sage Shaunaka said, the womb of Uttara, mother of Maharaj Parikshit, was spoiled by the dreadful and invincible Brahmastra weapon released by Ashwattama, but Maharaj Parikshit was saved by the Supreme Lord. So, we know that this topic was discussed in some chapters before. So this was in same canto, chapter 7, right? The son of Drona punished. So we discussed in detail. But does anyone remember the original question? Because here it says they wanted to come back to the original question. Anyone can remember? It's difficult, right? Prabhuji, we are in 11th, 12th chapter. We discussed all this in the first chapter. How can we remember? So let's just go and understand the first few, at least the questions, so that we understand the context and what really happened, right? So in this very first question, first chapter, first canto and the first chapter, the questions by the sages. So there was, initially they asked, you have been given a long life, you're blessed with many years. Explain to us in an easy and understandable way, what have you ascertained to be the absolute and ultimate good for people in general, right? They wanted to understand what is that ultimate good for people in general. Then, in another words or so, yeah, there are many varieties of scriptures. All of them have got many prescribed duties, but which may can be learned only after many years of study. So they wanted to, oh sage, please select the essence of the scriptures and explain to us for the good of all living beings, so that by such instructions our hearts may be fully satisfied, right? So then another question was like, um, yeah. So for what is the purpose the Supreme Personality of God appeared in the womb of Devaki as son of Vasudeva? Then, O Sutta Goswami, they asked, you eager to learn about the personality of Godhead? Yeah, we want to know about the personality and his incarnations. Please explain to us those teachings imparted by the previous acharyas, right? So that is one, so that one is uplifted by both speaking about them and hearing about them, right? Then, and they asked Lord Shri Krishna and Balaram, like they played like human being, huh? As and so masked, he performed so many superhuman acts. Tell us all about that. And then finally they asked about the absolute truth, the master of all mystics. He is after his departure to his own abode. Please tell us whom the religious principles have now gone for shelter, right? So these are the wonderful questions which the sages asked, right? So what did Sutta Goswami do? Immediately appreciated all of them for asking such questions, right? He said, thank you for asking such nice questions. Even if you see any speaker who's giving a class in Srimad Bhagavatam, after the moment the class is over and the speak and somebody asks a doubt, the first thing the speaker does is thank him for asking the question. Such an important aspect of the you know the entire Vaishnava discussions. So that is why it's also important to we need to ask questions, relevant ones, with respect to that particular verse. So then he said, now we shall hear the story of Srimad Bhagavatam. Why? Because from the narrations you will get all the answers to all your questions. So now that brings us to the situation that why whatever that brings us that probably raises a question, why is Srimad Bhagavatam wrote, right? So in the next few chapters after the first chapter, we all know that there was a wonderful detailed description about Narada Muni and Srila Vyasadeva, right? And we all know the answer to what happened during the during the discussions where Vyasadeva felt dissatisfied and finally Guru could identify what is that missing link. Why is he feeling depressed, dissatisfied, almost dejected? Because he did not fully glorify Krishna. So very specifically glorify Krishna, the Supreme Lord. So that was his instruction. Now comes the question, uh, who spoke, or rather, who spoke to whom, right? So, whom did Srila Vyasadeva speak Srimad Bhagavatam to? We all know that it was Parikshit Maharaj, right? So, the question is, who is he? How was he born? What was his history? And what did Srila Vyasadeva speak? All this was discussed in almost seventh chapter. Seventh, right? So, how was he born? When did he see the Lord? Why did he have to go to the womb of Uttara? All those questions came. But post that, there are many things which Sutta Goswami spoke, right? Which has actually happened before the birth of Parikshit Maharaj, like the Ashwatthama's punishment, then what did Kunti Maharani prayers, very, very wonderful verse, chapter we read, and then the famous discussions which happened between the Pandavas and Bhishmadev while he was lying. How can one forget? So beautifully, Bhishmadev invited them despite lying down helpless, right? So all this minute details was discussed. And then his prayers thereafter, and the request, then Kunti Maharani, Yudhishthira Maharaj, all of them requested Supreme Lord not to leave, Krishna not to leave, right? Then finally, just the very last chapter, we enjoyed the discussion, the detailed description of how Krishna entering Dwaraka, right, is residing with the queens of 16,108 queens. So many wonderful topics we discussed. Now, we are going back to the topic, right? We are going back because it says uh, they inquired, they wanted to get back to this topic, right? So, how Parikshit Maharaj, going back to the topic of how Parikshit Maharaj was born, what happened? So, though the topic was diverted, topics were diverted, where, okay, but you all know that the diverted topics were also discussion about Krishna and his activities. So we sometimes we also have meetings, we also have discussions, various levels, right? We all start with an intention to achieve something, right? Then we realize we have fully diverted from the main topic long time back. And then, then we slowly, after say wasting some time, and then we come back and say, what did we start the discussion for? Right? This happens. Even if we try to discuss spiritual uh, points, right? We try with the intention to achieve, okay, well, this is what we'll discuss. Even then, we keep going on in circles. And especially nowadays, if you want to listen to a class in YouTube, you sit down, organize everything, pen, book, notebook, then you start the YouTube. I don't know about others. Definitely at least another 30 minutes of nonsense we actually click, because that's how it pops. And then we click and then, oh my God, we are supposed to actually, why did I sit down? Already 30 minutes of my sadhana is wasted. Then we actually go on to the class of Radhe Shyam Prabhu or whatever it is, and then we try. And even if you click the class, there are at least, to me, at least 100 breaks come. Something comes advertisement, from by chance you click there, you're gone. From the class also, you're gone. So uh, we get diverted. The point is that we get diverted even before we get to the class every day. The least we should do is at least read the translation, right? Okay, and then we then at least we understand where the context, where we are, right? So back to the YouTube or shorts, it keeps on going, it keeps on coming, right? Then it is very difficult, but however, a sincere sadhaka knows that this is, he goes, he meditates. Before all this, I should not get deviated, and goes to the main topic, why he sat down to hear, right? So our so the point I was trying to say is, when we meet for a meeting, our mind is only towards Maya, right? All the current topics, current uh, economics, geopolitics, then next probably comes Olympics, cricket, all others, right? Right. So realize it later, and actually here. So, however, what is the difference here? Advanced devotees, what do? They have a different mindset. We ourselves can check it.